Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm Zilla Blitz, and that whole idea we had to live underneath Kaibun Park in a store that wasn't being used was a really good idea until we went away to our last away match and came back, and behind me, that's where I was sleeping. Yeah, it's been refurbished into a new store now. So we don't have any place to live. Now you might be thinking that would be a big problem, but compared to some of the other decisions we have to make about our future, this is pretty minor. We got a lot of things to talk about. In the season wrap episode, we're going to talk about our future, we're going to take a look back at the past season, and we're going to see who won the Guess the Point Total competition. Lots of exciting things coming out, tons of stuff to cover. I hope you'll stick around. Hey everybody, welcome to Walkabout Europe, the Football Manager 21 Journeyman Save, where we add the condition that we can only move between clubs in the game when we've walked or exercised that same distance in real life. A lot to talk about here as we wrap up our 5th season at St. Gallen. The season is over, there's no match today. We're going to kind of review the season, talk about our future, and tie up lots of little loose ends here. There's actually a lot of things I think that are noteworthy. I have a whole paper here with about a dozen things that we're going to go through. So let's get started. First of all, let's wrap up the season. How did we finish up? When we were last together, we won the Swiss Cup. Then we had 2 matches left. We lost the first one. Yes, and that was actually very important. Then we came down to our last match and we beat Basel 1-0, which was actually quite interesting because what it did by beating Basel, we dropped them down to 6th place, which means that they do not get European football. So on the last day of the season, they missed it by 1 point. And they had goal differential on the teams above them. So by losing to us, that we eliminated them from European football next season. That's pretty big because Basel and Young Boys are one of 2 powerhouses in the league. And for them not to get that European cash, that's pretty helpful for us. So good on us. And as you can see, we finished the season. We had the most goals in the league with 82. We gave up the fewest goals with 27. Dominated goal differential. We haven't had a team like this in such a long time. 79 points to second place, Young Boys 61, so an 18-point final distance gap in the results on the table there. So all in all, that was a pretty good season. And we will start today, and we're going to take a look at our season review because there actually are some interesting things in there in terms of who did what. We're not going to stop for all of these screens. These are going to come up in a second there. We're going to kind of pass over those. Here again are the final results and stuff like that. Finished first and got A+ board rating, so that's good. That kind of makes sense when you win the league by 18 points and do a double. Kind of think that's going to be there. Goal of the season. Yes, FM Greeno's nephew, Zoldvert Grunved. He gets the goal of the season. It's not really that spectacular, unfortunately, but for whatever reason, he got it, and it is pretty good. We had some big wins there, but I don't think there's... We're going to look at the finances in a different place. Here's our final 11. Here are some interesting things, though, that I wanted to... Fans player of the season is Petr Pusic, who we did sign to that long extension at £10,000 a week. One of our top 3 most expensive players, but I felt like that was money well spent to lock him up. We're going to look at some of our young players later on. Our goal scorer of the season was Sebastian Anderson, who is aging by the minute. It's just dramatic how his performance has fallen off in the second half of the season, and we'll talk more about him shortly. Highest average rating again, Petr Pusic, our right winger, who was really good. We did break a few records. Most assists in a season by Pusic with 16 assists. He had 16 assists and 16 goals. What a season with a 7.4 rating in the league, 13 goals, 12 assists in 21 matches. Just a man on fire for us. And he spent a month and a half injured too. Imagine what he would have had if he was healthy for the whole time. Our goalkeeper, Andre Koller, had 20 clean sheets on the year. Pusic had 7 man of the matches to lead the team in there as well. And lots of good things that people said about us, and we're done with that. So that kind of summarizes, I think, what the season was. Now, one of the things I did want to mention, and people said, wow, great season, but we had a lot of really good players that just had marvelous seasons. And Young Boys and Basel had switched managers, so they had subpar seasons. That's the only reason I think this was so easy for us. Next year will be harder if we're still here, although we'll get to that issue in a little bit going forward. Also, in another bout of good news, we should take a look at our profile here because it's gone up. And I just want to kind of check off things as I go through them, make sure I get all the buttons here. So, our reputation now is up to 3.25 stars. 25. So we got a 5% bump for winning the Swiss Cup and a 5% bump for winning the league. So we're up to 3.25 stars out of 5, which might make it helpful for us to find a new job. Also, good news for us. I got an email that says we are now in the American Managers Hall of Fame. But if you look at the Hall of Fame for the American Managers, I can't find myself there. So maybe it was just spam and they're trying to get me to like sign up for one of those things where you get a trophy and you pay $5,000 for it or something like that. So I'm not really sure if you know anything about that. I don't know why I got the email that said I'm in the American Hall of Fame, but if I look at the top 10 managers, my name's not there and you can't scroll down past that. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But let's go now to, I just want to kind of show one little housekeeping thing too, because I know a lot of people are interested in how leagues are set up and stuff like that. I want to go through, one of the things I've noticed is that the game's been running kind of slowly. And so I just want to let people know that I am going in over the course of the next month. I've slotted a number of the lower leagues. So the last league in Denmark, Belgium, Austria, the bottom 2 in England. So Sky Bet 2 and Vanarama National are dropping out. The fourth level of French football, the third level in Hungary, dropping out about, I think, 12 to 15 leagues out of the bottom where I just don't think we're going to go anymore. And I'm hopeful that'll speed things up a little bit. I mean, it's not painfully slow, but a lot of times you kind of click and it just takes a while for all the games and stuff like that to process. So that's just one little housekeeping thing that I would want to show with you. And let's now take a look at to kind of not let the suspense go on too long. Who won the Guess the Point Total competition for the year? When we last left, it was down to FM Digi and Ralph Albright. And I can say that we did lose that second to last match of the year. So we needed to come into the last match of the year with a win or a draw. And we did get that win. So we ended up with 79 points, which means that Ralph Albright is our winner. The closest one to our point total is he guessed 80, missed the point total by only a single point. So congratulations to Ralph Albright. You can now nickname one of our players. You don't have to name them right away because we might not be here for that much longer. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that. Might not be here that much longer, so it's kind of this little card that you can nickname a player, PG-13 or mild or child-friendly, please, if that would be greatly appreciated. You can name anyone you want to at a future club or at this club if you would like as well. Now, I have noticed that we had kind of that month break, and I have noticed that Ralph hasn't been posting comments since then, so he may have gone into the ether of Football Manager Summer or something like that. If he doesn't, then it would go to our second place contestants, would be FM Digi. So Ralph, if you're watching this, let us know down in the comments. We'll give you kind of like 2 weeks or so to catch up. But if not, then we're going to go to the next contestant, which would be FM Digi as the runner-up to nickname a player. So congratulations there. We'll move on there. We've looked at our profile. Now we have to decide our future. And after kind of looking at everybody's comments and things like that, one of the things that I said is I definitely want to move as soon as possible. And here's my thinking. I don't think it makes sense. What more can we do here, really? We're going to go to Champions League, but I don't really want to play a whole season in Champions League, a whole season here just for that championship league, the Champions League quarter, the group stage, because I honestly don't think we're quite ready for that. I think it would be very unlikely that we would get out of the group stage. Even if we do, we're probably not going to get that much farther than maybe the next round. We're not a Champions League level winning team, or even like semifinals. We're just not there yet. It would be a miraculous run. So I'm not really that excited about playing another season when we won this season by 18 points. Although, in all fairness, I do think that this next season coming up will definitely be harder. So, with that being said, however, I've started to look for jobs. And if we go into the staff and the job center and things like that, the problem is that our circle doesn't really take us that far into France or Germany or Italy yet. It takes us kind of a mile chunk. And I've been looking at teams like Bundesliga 1, the top Bundesliga team, Bundesliga 2, top 2 leagues in France, and the top 2 leagues, Serie A, Serie B in Italy. There's nothing there. There's only 2 teams that are top league teams that are in those 3 countries. One is Schalke in the Bundesliga, but we are a good 80 miles, 40, 60 miles away from where they are, so we can't reach there. And then Monaco down in France, which would be a cool one. But we're also, I think, still over 50, 60 miles, so like a week and a half away from even applying for Monaco. So I think by the time we get there, yeah, it's just not going to work. We're too far away. So I'm going to keep looking, but because there are no opportunities there right now, I'm going to stick with where we are. I don't want to resign from this with a year left. I think what I want to do is keep going until we can find a club that we can apply for and hopefully get that job. So yeah, that's the plan. And maybe that means we do a half season here. Maybe we do have to do a whole new season here, another season here, which wouldn't be the worst thing. It is kind of some interesting problems, and we do have a pretty decent team that's fun to play with. So we'll kind of sort through as we go forward. That does leave us the question of what are we doing with what we've got here, because we have some problems to solve. So just to give a rough idea what we're going to do forward, I'm going to start playing through the off season, look for jobs, start applying for jobs. We'll be back for the the beginning of the season, mid-season season preview episode, which will be maybe in like a month and a half, and maybe something will open up and we might have a new job. That would be ideal. But I'm just want to give you an idea of what I'm doing and let you know, see if people have ideas on what might be a good strategy. We have a number of players who are kind of old. Victor Ruiz, Kevin Bua, who's just not very good. Simon Follett, who's good, but he's 33 as a center back and he's old. And then Sebastian Anderson, who's kind of falling off a cliff. These players, Follett, Anderson, and Ruiz, did play a pretty significant role in the team this year. So unfortunately, I'm trying to sell them. So we're going to get rid of those, and I've got some offers in. That means we need another striker. Anderson was phenomenal for us for the first half of the season. So we got to find another striker. I do want to find another center back, and we're going to try to shuffle some more players around as well, and try to improve where we can. We do have some money, which is helping us too. We now have 25 million in the bank, and that's not counting the income we're going to get, which is probably going to be about maybe 3 million more for the play, maybe 4 or 5 million for the players we're selling. So we do have some cash. We have a transfer budget of 5 million, and our wage budget's gone up quite a bit. If we can remove some of those players that we're selling, we're going to have even more room in the wage budget, so we can bring some players on. So basically, I'm going to go try to find new players. And I did want to show you a couple of other cool things as well. I have tried to bring in and sign some players, but the players we're trying to sign, they want a ton of money right now, basically because it's that end of May when everybody's really expensive. So I'm not going to sign players until we get to at least the end of June, early July. We're just going to hold off until their prices go down a little bit. However, I did want to show you some of our young players, because we have some pretty interesting players that may be able to fill some pretty big roles. Natalie Pelicia, who became our signing of the year, 2-star with a pretty definite 4-star potential ability. Left winger, and we can move him up to an attacking left winger. Acceleration of 15, pace of 13, crossing of 11, dribbling of 12, and he's only 18 years old. So I'm hopeful that he can be a pretty big deal out on the left side for us. Maybe even, I don't see he's being a striker. With the finishing of 6, that's not going to work. He's going to be kind of a supporting winger, isn't he? Landry Hotzi, who we signed in the midpoint of the year. Current ability at 3-star, definite 4-star potential, 18 years old. I'm hoping I can just slot him right into kind of a deep-lying playing midfielder next year and just let him develop throughout the course of the year. So 2 exciting talents there. And if we go down to our U21 team, who, by the way, our U21 team got promoted from the promotion league or something like that. So they won their league by double digits as well. So the game apparently thinks pretty highly of our youth prospects. And that's kind of one of the things I've been doing off to the side this year, is looking for these 1.5 2-star players that I could sign cheap. I'm talking like 300,000, 400,000, that had this kind of 4-star to 5-star potential, 4 gold stars and 5-star potential. Now, I know all of these don't work out, so it's kind of like lottery tickets, but I feel like this 2-star, especially the 2-star, 4-star combination with the potential 5 high, seems to be players that have a tendency to work out pretty well in the game. So we do have another one here, Lucas Balk. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, acceleration of 13, pace of 11. I'd like to see that faster, but he's only 19, finishing at 12 and dribbling of 14. So potential here for a striker if we want to try to give him here. I like this goalkeeper, Lloyd Towns. 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, 19 years old, really good numbers. An English lad. So that gives us a really good option at backup goalkeeper. Then we had a couple of youth players. Check out this youth player we had come in. Fatlum Salihi. I still haven't even swapped out his face pack yet. 1-star current ability. Potential 4.5 stars current ability. Pretty, I don't know. Actually, kind of think of it, his stars are great, but his numbers don't look very good at all, do they? I mean, he is 15, so we'll see what happens. And he's got some green arrows, which is always a good sign to see. So that's pretty good. Screeve Yuma, I like as well, too. 2-star current ability, at least 3.5-star potential ability. Acceleration of 15, pace of 11, finishing of 14. I mean, that's pretty good for a striker right down the middle. So maybe one of these players could kind of develop into something really cool. David Rodriguez is a goalkeeper we signed, potential good ability. So we have kind of a half dozen players that fall into this kind of pretty decent 2-star ability. I mean, 2-star ability you can kind of play at this league. I mean, I wouldn't want everybody to be 2 stars. We're not going to do as well as we did last year. But I figure if we had 1 or 2 players at 2-star ability, our right wing back had 2-star to start out. Now he's up, I think, to 3 by the end of the season. So I'd like to think we can maybe bring 1 or 2 of these players in and fill some holes that way next year. It should be kind of fun to see them play into some really cool players, too. So that's one thought there. And we do also have a couple of other transfers coming in at the end of the season. Just to show you, one, I forgot that I signed this guy, Calvin Radzi. He was the #1 goalkeeper from Ajax this year. We signed him in the winter for an end-of-season contract. Current ability, 3.5 stars. Potential ability, 4 stars. 23 years old. He slots out as being better than our current goalkeeper, and he isn't afraid of big matches too. So, I mean, 56 appearances, 48 goals conceded at Ajax. That seems pretty good. So, he's coming in. And then we have this guy, Luca Ranieri, who is the left back. Because I thought we were going to lose one of our left backs because Chinese teams are trying to poach him. So I signed this guy as well. I'm 26 years old, 3-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. Lots of green and yellow numbers. Look pretty good. And we got him really, really cheap. And then this guy's not very good. So, yeah, that's kind of the rough plan. We're going to kind of keep looking for a job and assume that we're going to kind of be here until we don't have to be here anymore. So I'm picking up the jobs wanted ads every day and kind of perusing through them, and hopefully we'll have something. And I think that's pretty much it. We've gone through our checklist of everything that we wanted to talk to. Let me know if you have ideas on things we should concentrate on, things we might want to do. Other than that, we'll play forward about a month and a half. I'm thinking we'll come back right around the beginning of July. And maybe, in a perfect world, we'll come back at a new club. Because I'm hopeful that some teams lose their managers, and I'm hopeful we don't have to quit from here in order to get a new job. I know it helps, and we are getting £5,000 a week, which means that the buyout from my clause is pretty substantial. So it's going to take a big club to do that, but I think £5,000 a week for a club that's like Bundesliga or League One level isn't really going to be that much of a big deal now at this level. And we do have pretty significant bump to our profile stars there. 3.25 stars is pretty good for some kind of mid to lower level Bundesliga teams, or Italian, Serie A, maybe Serie B teams down there too. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll have a new job. If not, we'll be back to talk about what we've done here. We're just going to kind of assume that we're going to be here for a while. I think I'm kind of repeating myself. That's about it for now. We will see you on Tuesday for our next episode. I'm going to try to fly through this off season and see what we can do to improve the team and get a new job. Thanks, everybody. Thanks as well for all your support this year. It's been great reading your comments, and I feel like the comments always make me better at the game because you bring up such great ideas and things like that too. And lastly, congratulations to Ralph Allwright for winning the contest. Let us know what your intentions are. Just drop down a comment down there saying you saw it and you're going to hold on to it, I assume, until you see whether we're going to be here for another year or go on to some other club. That's it for now, everybody. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of the weekend.